This is Greg Rempe, host of the Barbecue Central Radio Show. And you are listening to BCRN, all barbecue and grilling all the time.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish! What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
We have top men working on it right now. Ooh, top men.
Hey, you're in the second hour. Let me tell you what top men aren't working on. My goddamn news. You know, you work endless hours during the course of the week, more than you would possibly think that I would possibly work to do this pathetic internet radio show. And you do the work prior to the show going live to make sure all of your sound cards are where they need to be. And then you want to time out all the posts and make sure everything sounds just like it would on regular radio in your car. And then you go to hit the play button. I mean, news is playing right now. I still have 2 minutes or a minute and 12 seconds until that whole bit is gone. I have no idea where the sound is on that. Sounds all the way up. I mean, what are we talking about here? You go through painstaking trials and tribulations to put on the best quality product. And you can't get any CNN news. What's going on over here? Bastards.
Big stuff out of here.
Rat bastards. They ruin it for everybody. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the first hour. We had Mike Davis from Lotta Bull Barbecue on. He won the American Royal Open portion of the contest last weekend, or this past weekend. And then after that, we had the invitational winner, Don Will of Smokers Wild. So having both of the champions on this show was awesome. Was able to somehow pull that off. Don was actually a little bit harder to find than Mike. I've had some previous interviews in the past with Mike. He's a great guy, very humble, very appreciative, looking to give back. And I think that's why a lot of people love Mike Davis almost unabashedly. He's really one of the favorites when it comes to competitors that are out there doing this on the circuit weekend in and weekend out. I mean, he's really out there traveling quite a bit this weekend. But, you know, he's another guy that has visions of doing more than just competing. I mean, he's going to go ahead and sacrifice a shot at Team of the Year because he's got other obligations within the barbecue business that he would rather attend to. So you got to respect somebody like Mike, who is actually in the hunt and is going to head and pass on some of that stuff because he's got other commitments that he sees big picture-wise for barbecue. All right, kicking off the second hour, a guy who has been in this barbecue game for a while now. He has won several awards over the years, the inventor of one of the most successful competition barbecue cookers out there on the circuit today. But what really shot him into superstardom, as I'm sure he would admit, was his participation on the very first Brisket Roundtable show, which continues to be one of the most popular episodes ever done in the history of any barbecue radio show, internet, or the like. So let's go ahead and race over to the hotline. The creator of the FE line of cookers, pitmaster of Fast Eddy's Barbecue, friend of the show, Eddy Maurin, joining us. Eddy, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Greg, great to be with you tonight. Things sounding pretty good after the American Royal, huh?
Well, it's always good to have the winners of each portion of that competition jump right on the show and talk about it. And from all accounts, I mean, I've talked with Mike Davis over the years, and he really seems, unless I'm completely snowed, Eddy, you would probably see him a lot more than me, obviously. I mean, he really one of the good guys in barbecue?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mike definitely is. You know, he he's a barbecue man clear to the bone. Anybody that runs up and down the highway and goes cooks as much as he does, um, you know, it's amazing that people are out there doing this and doing what they love for a living.
Now, I was talking to him this last hour, and he's made a pit change. He's switched out of that Jamie Gear pit that Johnny Trigg had, a long time ago. And, of course, between the two of them, they probably got 50 billion grand championships sitting on that pit, but he's decided to go to the Yoder's pit. Have you ever seen, teams that have had a lot of success with a pit just go ahead and make a wholesale change like that? What do you think about that?
Oh, I think he probably made a change for the better. I mean, I think once he got on that Yoder pit, I think his I've been kind of watching the scores out there, and I think he's improved, actually. He's working less. He said himself that, he's burning about half the amount of fuel, and it's that much more efficient. And I think his scores have improved. If you look when he finally went onto that Yoder full time, I think if you go back and track what he's done, I think you've seen there's a great improvement in him.
He said an interesting comment last hour was the fact that he thought the Yoder was almost like a pellet cooker. And I've heard this now almost recurring more and more as I talk with the pitmasters. There seems to be this wanting to get something that's producing a flavor profile like a pellet cooker or functioning and as efficient as a pellet cooker. What do you make of all this?
I'm loving it, as you can imagine. I mean, man, you should have been with me in 1990 when I started cooking on pellets and everybody made fun of the stuff. And really within the last, probably the last 10 years, it finally has really kind of started on. Down at the American Royal, there were so many different pellet grill companies down there. You seen Heartland was there, out there with the pellet heads guys. Woodmaster, which is a brand new group that's just come on board, was out there with the pellet heads group. You had a Traeger dealer inside. You had the Green Mountain distributor inside. You had Yoder's now building some pellet grills also. I mean, look, the footprint of barbecue's changing. And I don't say it's going to, get away from, charcoal and wood and stuff, but technology's catching up. This is just like the computer age when it come along. And I think it's just phenomenal. The 3 of the top 6 teams in the Open were using my pits or part of my pits down there. 3 of the teams that won categories in the Invitational, we wrote checks to for their first place. Cook Shack had $100 for first place if you had an FEC product with you. So 3 of the 4 categories we wrote checks on. So I mean, when you start sitting back and looking the footprint of barbecue, it's coming.
Now, Ed, before we get into what happened this past weekend a little bit more in depth, we're almost, believe it or not, 4 years removed, coming up on the anniversary of the Brisket Roundtable. Now, be honest, how often are you stopped in the street for autographs and getting adulation heaped on you by the barbecue fans who really loved that episode?
I do hear about it. And it was, that was a great roundtable. There's some unbelievable information there. And that same information is still used to this day. And we were talking, one of the top-notch teams come down and wanted to taste my brisket at the Open, and we're standing there tasting each other's brisket, and this particular individual had one of those $130 Wagyu briskets, and I had my choice or better that was 38 days aged out, and you couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah, I mean, that was like my next question, Ed, was, the thing that really strikes me about that particular roundtable is the fact that during the Open, I asked everybody about this Kobe beef, and I think you said you knew a rancher who was raising Wagyu cattle at that point, but everyone except for Jim Minion kind of passed it off as something that was really not worth the money or that you could do just as good with something of a lesser expensive cut. Fast forward 4 years, Wagyu beef has really gained a lot of steam in the competition scene. You look back, did you ever foresee that there would be this kind of run or success for this kind of cut of beef in competition barbecue?
Well, I guess when you really start looking at the guys that are using it are the guys that are really cooking hot and fast. Okay. And that much more marbling in it's given them a break to be able to do that, I guess. Probably benefits them. But the fella who's leading points in brisket right now, I shouldn't probably be saying much, but
Go ahead. Nobody's listening.
I think he's getting a giggle out of it.
So, we're talking with Fast Eddy Maurin, by the way, and his website, pelletcooker.com, will actually show you the pellet grill, but you can also link over to the Cook Shack site if you're interested in the FE cookers that he has available for sale. Pelletcooker.com is the website. Another American Royal comes and goes. Fast Eddy's barbecue finished 91st overall in the open portion of the contest, so you get a top 10 call with your ninth place finish in chicken. You've been at this a long time now, Ed. You were admittedly chasing money around, in the younger days for competition barbecue, flying over Hell's Half Acre and taking your meat with you and all that fun stuff. Do you still get the same excitement when you hit the stage to take that walk as you did when you first got into this?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely great to get a recognition. I mean, they even had my picture on the T-shirts down there at the Royal. I'd like to thank them for doing that. It was amazing, to get to go up there and get a walk. And my chicken hasn't been that solid. That's a chicken recipe I've been dead set on sticking with for quite some time. I won't buy into cooking chicken in a pan. And that was cooked right on the grill, man. So, and it had a great flavor to it. I was real happy with it, to get that kind of call. But, I was disappointed in myself because I blew my pork. I overcooked it. I got busy talking to some people and doing some stuff and forgot about the pork being on the pit and getting it off. And then I tried to salvage it on my turn in, and it just wasn't gonna make it. So, if I'd have had a decent pork call, I was looking at the top 10 or top 20 at the worst, the way it was, if I'd have had just a 160 in pork. But that's just, the way it goes. I was really shooting to win the Legends deal down there, finished third at that. I would have liked to have won the Legends thing because that was my 21st year at cooking the Royal.
I was going to say, you've been down there for quite a while, but you were competing at it at first just as the competitor to win, and then at some point you decided to get into the pit making business, and you've said in past interviews at that point, you wanted to make it more about the customer, make sure they were successful. Has this event now, that being the Royal, become more of a business expo for you with the cookers, or are you still able to separate out the business side and the cooking side?
Oh, it's all business pretty much, Greg. I mean, it's the never-ending trade show. You go do a trade show like Chicago or Florida or California, and the show floor is only open from like 11 to 5, or 10 to 5. You're out there 6 or 7 hours on your feet talking and shaking hands and talking with people. At the American Royal, it's like it never ends. I'll tell you, one little story. It's 10 o'clock Friday night, and everybody had left, and I went in to take a shower, and I just got undressed to get in the shower, and the coach is rocking. I go, what in the world's a storm come up or something? Because I got all the awnings and stuff out. So I get dressed and I go outside. And about that time, some people had jumped off the back of the coach. Some drunks had jumped onto the coach. And then here come Richard McPeak walking down the aisle. I end up standing outside talking to him for another 30 minutes. So by the time I get to bed, it's 11:30. It's there's always somebody to talk to, always some kind of networking going on to do constantly. And that starts Thursday morning and it doesn't end till I leave there on Sunday afternoon.
But it's all well worth it in the end, or is it kind of getting to be a pain in the ass?
Oh, no, it's well worth it. We definitely want to be there and have a bigger presence every year, just like we've sponsored the poker tournament with the rotisserie smoker, which was actually won by a Kansas City firefighter that I came on the job with this year. First time he'd ever played poker down there at the Royal. So that was pretty wild. And last hand was dealt at 1:30 a.m. So made a lot of money for the Royal by us donating that. And we felt, we're real happy to be part of something that we feel like is really great for the world of agriculture and the world of barbecue itself.
Best Eddy Maurin joining us here on the show. Again, his website, pelletcooker.com, and you can link over to Cook Shack from there. Don Will of Smokers Wild wins the Invitational this year. Mike Davis wins the open portion again. Eddie, Mike has had a lot of success at the Royal since 2002. He's won the Invitational portion once. He's won the open portion 3 times. Likewise, Don Will did very well last year, finishing, I think, in the top 10 for both portions of the event. Anything that you can point to as to why these guys have been hitting so well the last couple of years?
Once you find a good honey hole, and they like your food flavor profile that you come with, it usually hangs around for a while. Take for instance the Three Little Pigs when that team was complete, and the patriarch of the family, the father and mother and Chris and his buddy, when they all cooked together down there. I mean, that was like holy ground to them at the American Royal, and those tried and true recipes just seemed like when a group of judges came together from an area, they kind of had a taste that they liked, and I think that's what those guys got going on. I mean, I'm not dishing on anybody because of a great cook, but I don't think Johnny Trigg hardly got out of his seat much this weekend. But there's a great cook, for instance. I mean, it's just there's certain flavor profiles that they like better than others, and when you find that honey hole, you got to keep coming back.
So when you have teams out there, they're looking to branch more out into other areas, other regions of the country. If they're successful with the flavor profile, wherever they are, whether it be a West Coast looking to move east, vice versa, or Southerners looking to come up more Midwest or even farther north, you see this proliferation of classes out there, and I think we've talked about this off air. A lot of people are offering classes that are winning now. Do you think it's worthwhile that teams take these classes, or are they setting themselves up to, if they're only going to go and use exactly what they were taught at the next event, are they kind of painting themselves into a flavor profile pigeonhole of sorts?
I kind of think they are. I think you're kind of, if you're going to use the exact same ingredients that somebody's using, odds are it's going to be successful if you use it enough. That's for sure. But I've talked to judges, and of course we've all talked in circles too, that and those, I haven't judged lately, but I have talked to some people who are cooks that have judged, and they're sitting down and tasting a bunch of the stuff, tasting the same. So that's going to get to be your average flavor. If everybody's stuff is starting to taste the same, that's going to start being more the average of expectation. And not that it's not good, but can you you got to get you're trying to get them to write 9s and not 8s. So if everything's tasting a lot more the same, is that going to be more 8s than 9s? And I like the people to try to get when I teach a class, I want them to not necessarily, here's the flavor we use, here's some different flavors to try and get what you like, but here's the techniques, and here's where you want to get to, and here's the type of profile that I look for. But I try to get people really to be their own is what I like to see. So, kind of a roundabout way of answering your question. I think there's getting to be a lot of the same taste out there because of it.
So if we're leading into an issue where there might be some of the same taste, or where what's winning is now going to be the average over a certain period of time, and you've seen a lot of evolution in the world of barbecue. I specifically remember you saying that at one point you never used to inject pork butts. Now you do inject pork butts, or briskets and so on and so forth. Is there something that you can see that might be like the next big competition trend when it comes to profiles, or doing something to the meat to give it that over-the-top edge against what's winning now?
Oh, I think it's still going to be driving down that middle of the road. I still think it's going to be that, that mix of sweet and heat and, tomato-based type sauces. I don't think you're going to see anybody stray too far away from that. I think if you're going to start seeing anything kind of stray away, you're going to start seeing sauce maybe used a little bit less than what it is now. I think some stuff has gotten real saucy to where people are doing a little bit better backing down from having so much barbecue sauce. So they're opening, what that really does is open up the flavors a little bit more. You still got to use it, it's still a blend, and it's you still want to taste smoke and the meat and the flavors. Nobody out there's leaning too far one way or the other. I just think it's different variations of it.
So you look at the Team of the Year race right now, and it's very tight again this year. A couple teams have already said that they're in it to win it, and if they have to go back to Tucson, Arizona, wherever the hell it was at the end of last year, where it needs to be decided, that's what they're going to do. What do you think is going to play out this year? Is Rod Gray going to repeat? Does Mike Wozniak step up and punch Rod Gray in the face back down to second or third place? Or is somebody else that's within that 50, 100-point range might come up and beat both of them?
Well, the only one I think that's really, possible that could jump in there could be David Bosca. I think David's sitting fourth right now, but he's also leading 2 categories. That's the only reason why I think, because he's leading 2 categories, and if he's kind of been a little hit and miss on the other 2, and I think if he's working real hard on trying to get some consistency there, but he's not going to chase the miles and run up and down the road like those 2 guys will. David's still got his business to run, and so I think it's pretty much up to those 2 guys who have the commitment to go anywhere, anyway, any given time. And that's really, the kind of the commitment you got to have to go chase this year-end points thing now anyway, is you got to be able to put the rubber to the road and say, I'm out here and this is what I got to do. And I don't think there's probably that effort on anybody else doing it right now.
Ed Maurin joining us here on the show. Ed, how's the pellet grill been selling for you over at pelletcooker.com?
Been doing good. Cook Shack's now manufacturing. We're strictly only into stainless steel, and it's taken off. It's moving on pretty well. I'm real happy with where things are going. We've got some other plans and things in the works. We'll see if I can make that stuff happen here in the next 6-8 months. But no, we're happy, and barbecue's hot. It's our business is very good at the moment. All segments of our business I was amazing how much commercial equipment was going this year. Commercial stuff was up quite a bit. A lot of restaurateurs looking to get into the barbecue business. My restaurant class, we did the first one in July. We had 27 there. We got 25 people coming next week down there. That's looking like every 3 or 4 months we're going to be having one of my 2-day restaurant classes. So it's the people are out there wanting to know the information how to make money on this, and that's what we're going to do. Now, before I let you go, Ed, rumors wildly swirling around that you either are coming out or you have come out with your own brand of wood pellets. So are they out for sale right now? And if they are, what sets these pellets apart from some of the others that are out on the market right now? Yeah, we did. We come out with our own brand. We've got a small mill out of Southwest Tennessee that's working with us, and they've got some really nice raw materials that they work. Some of the largest hickory forests in the world are in Tennessee, and they've also got their own dryer. That's what I really like, is they can dry their own flavored wood down. A dryer is a tumble dryer, and it burns 10% of the product to dry it. That's the key to making great pellets is being able to get the moisture content out of them and get down, and also least amount of bark and mostly center cut wood as much as possible. And these guys have done a phenomenal job at that. And also the size of pellets that they're making as far as the length of them and the density of them. Hardly no fines in the bags. It's really done a great job on our commercial stuff, and he's doing 100% hickory for us that I'm selling as a competition pellet. And I've got a lot of the big names in the pellet cooking and the ones, a lot of them that's even way up there in the points and stuff are doing really well with the product. I got into them this year to try it, and and it's being sold through Cook Shack. You can get it through Cook Shack, or you can get it from me, either one. And we haven't aggressively marketed it yet, but we're starting to. I gave a free bag of pellets out to everybody at the American Royal, could come over and get one and give it a try. Not all pellets are made equal, and I wanted to give them a try. And what's cool is more pellet companies are coming on board too. Chris from Cooking Pellets was down there. There was pellets everywhere down at the Royal, so it was great to see. I'm loving it. More presence we all have, the better off it is.
So you have pellets out there, FEPs, Fast Eddy pellets for your FECs, Fast Eddy cookers. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's cool. I want to hear Harry Carey say that sometime.
FEPs for your FECs, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Cubs win, and the pellets win. Yeah, so I mean that's awesome that you have your brand of pellets to go with that cookers now. That's definitely going to help with the marketing. Again, we're talking with Ed Maurin, the creator of the FE line of cookers and that pellet grill. Pelletcooker.com is the website, and you can link over to Cook Shack from there as well. Ed, always appreciate the conversation and the fact that you take time out for the show. Thanks for coming on tonight.
All right, Greg, you take care.
All right, take care. There he is, Ed Maurin, Fast Eddy, baby. Class guy right there. I mean, you know that Fast Eddy is all about pellets. This thing is blown up, and he has put in the hard work and the effort into getting his cookers out there, positioned to do well. A lot of teams using his cookers, or at least using one of his cookers in their arsenal. And he's happy to see it every weekend, how well his cookers are out there doing. Now he's got the FEPs for your FECs, baby. We're going to step away real quick, and then we'll come back with Larry Hill from PelletHeads.com. Stand by. You're listening to the Barbecue Central radio show right here on the Barbecue Central radio networks.
Barbecue fans travel from all over the country and the world to learn the secrets of real pit barbecue from Grand Champion Pitmaster Conrad Haskins. Now take your skills to the next level with a Barbecue Institute Pitmaster class. You'll learn how to make sauces, rubs, and smoke mouth-watering barbecue every time you cook. Your new skills will impress friends and family. Internet forums, blogs, and Facebook are full of success stories from our graduates. Upcoming classes locations include Rock City Rib Fest, Rochester, New York, Lexington, Massachusetts, Lang Factory Test Kitchen in Georgia, Fort Worth, Texas, Fredericksburg, Texas, Houston, Texas, Monroe, Washington, and Kennewick, Washington. For more information, class dates, and contests we'll be competing in, visit www.bbqclass.com. That's bbqclass.com.
Centralites, you having marriage troubles? Your kid's unruly and don't listen? Then you need the Ribbolator, because great barbecue will always bring the family together, and the Ribbolator always cooks great award-winning barbecue. You can try it free for 30 days, and if your family life doesn't improve, just send it back. Ribbolator even pays return shipping. But you need to take that first step. Visit Ribbolator.com to get started, or call 206-999-0962. Don't you deserve a happy barbecue family?
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Forget going from site to site to get all of your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and egg accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred's also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber, as well as a full line of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. And you can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Stephen Reichlin of Barbecue U fame. Check out Fred on the web at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
Introducing Cosmos Q. Cosmos Q injections and marinades use only the finest ingredients, and they mix easily, never clotting or caking. From our beef injection to our pork injection, you're guaranteed to wow your friends, family, and judges. And don't forget to check out our Cosmos Chicken Soak for that moist and tender chicken you're gonna love.
And don't forget about Cosmo's new pork soak and rubs.
You can find us at cosmosq.com and select retailers across the nation. For quality injections, marinades, and rubs, it's Cosmos Q.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
.32 past the hour. Welcome back. This is the Barbecue Central Radio Show right here on the Barbecue Central Radio Networks. Thanks again to Fast Eddy Maurin. King of the pellet, baby. FEPs for your FECs. Yeah, bitches. Hook up with that. Talking about what's good with the world of pellet cookers and his recap of what happened there on the American Royal competition. My final guest tonight founded what has turned into become the authority when it comes to all things regarding pellet cook portion. Sorry, I almost coughed. I had to hit the cough button. When it comes to all things regarding the pellet cooker portion of the industry, through their forum, they actually fielded a team this past weekend at the American Royal Invitational and actually the Open, and walked away with a third place overall, which is absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and race over to the hotline where we find administrator of pelletheads.com, Larry Hill, joining us here on the show. Larry, how are you tonight, buddy? Larry, you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm there. Hi, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Larry. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, making time for it. First off, Larry, I want to make a special mention on this. You know, you're the first site administrator to ever actually come on the show, so I want to thank you for doing it. But is there any reason that you could think of why some of the other site administrators out there would want to pass on an opportunity to come and promote their site?
Why? All I could say is that it's their misconception of new media.
It's got to be, Larry. All right, so as I mentioned, pelletheads.com is really the premier website and forum when it comes to anything that has to do with pellet cookers. You've done a great job getting the site and attracting a lot of great folks who add a lot of great content. So what made you want to get into this whole deal? And by that, I mean the internet forum sector.
Well, I guess I have to go back to when I first started with pellet cookers. I bought my first Traeger about 1970, about 19, oh no, I can't say that. It's about 2004. And I basically bought it, and the guy knew nothing about it. He said, I cook pizzas on it. So I gave him my $1,500 and went home and started cooking with briskets and pork shoulder and ribs. And I just decided that soon I became a Traeger dealer, and I wanted to really have a forum that people wouldn't be in the same boat that I was when I first started, and that was that you have no clue about how to work these fantastic machines. So I started pelletheads.com with the intention that we would have no sales. It would be a non-commercial site. I would support it 100% myself, and that's where it's grown. I think our big difference between most other forums that we have is content.
What drew you to pellets? There's a lot of different cookers out there. A lot of people love stick burners. A lot of people like the charcoal-driven cookers that you can add wood chunks to for flavor. And then, of course, there's the pellet heads. What in particular really excited you about the pellets versus the other fuels of cooking?
Oh, the first time I cooked on one, I realized right then and there that it was the only way to go. The food that came off was just above anything I'd ever cooked before, and that's what made me continue to want to cook. The more I cooked, the better I got at it, and soon I started to realize that the time and time again, I would cook the gas cooker against my pellet cookers, and even using the same rubs and the same flavors, the pellet cookers just come out with a complete enhancement because you're cooking with 100% wood, and this goes clear back to the Stone Age.
Now, I'm a site administrator myself, Larry. By the way, we're talking with Larry Hill, site administrator of pelletheads.com. I'm a site administrator myself. I know what it's like trying to get the site out of the water and then, finally realizing that it's growing organically is really a great milestone to hit. What have been some of the biggest challenges you have faced keeping the forum up and also making sure that it stays within that vision you have set for it?
Well, being an administrator, as you are, you know the challenges, but the rest of the public really probably doesn't see them. I've been taken down by spammers and hackers at least 3 times. Each time it cost me about $2,000 to get it back up. I've been criticized and ridiculed because I won't allow dealers to advertise on my forum, and they do it sometimes rather sneakily. So it's a challenge to keep those folks at bay. I would say that probably every day I probably reject 30 to 50 people that are trying to spam on my site, and I'll get 7 to 10 new people every day signing up. And I think that's the biggest challenge: is every single day you've got to keep on top, because if you let one day go by, it'll just cannonball.
So as you peruse your information and your intelligence through the site, what do you find to be the most popular portions and sections of the website itself?
Well, this last year I made a decision to break out all the individual cookers. As we begin to get more and more hits, I started to see that it was harder to find content on the forum. So with my moderator, Bentley Meredith, we separated out all of the content between different brands of cookers. And I think that is one of the things that really made a big difference, because people that have a Traeger don't want to read about the Fast Eddy, and people that have the Fast Eddy don't want to read about Memphis and all the other pellet grills on the market. So they had their own little section so that they could all get together and talk about the issues and the goods and bads of their cookers and how they work better.
Another great forum, or another great thing about a forum, of course, is the fact that you can make connections with folks from all over the country, even into different countries. I mean, all over the world. Certainly, it's no different on your site, which is how this whole American Royal thing came to be. Tell us how that idea came about to go make a run at the American Royal Open Cook-Off this past weekend.
Well, I think what happened is that we have been connecting with a lot of manufacturers. I do allow manufacturers to openly discuss their product on my forum. And I think it finally came to a idea between Bentley, myself, and some manufacturers to put together a team for the Royal. So we put it together, and we've got several people from the forum and people from manufacturers to supply pits, including Eddy, and showed up at the Royal and put together a team. Bentley is an experienced cook and was the captain, and his sister, Kristen Meredith, is also a very experienced cook. She did the sides and the chicken, and they just kind of guided the team right through the gates.
So it's safe to say that the reaction from the forum members to get out there was, would you say, overwhelming, or even better than you had actually anticipated it might be initially?
I think a lot of the forum people are. I think the majority of our forum, I should say, is not competitor cookers. They're more backyard cookers. And I think a few of them want to come out and try it, and that was available to them. I'm a competitive cooker and have been for years. And to me, I don't understand why people don't enjoy it. But after each one, when you're exhausted, you can say, I see why people don't want to do this.
So how many people from the forum actually showed up? Did you get a head count over the course of the couple days?
I think we had about 6 that actually showed up, and some of those were from manufacturers. So we had a few that just stopped by. I think next year we'll probably have a little more turnout, because I think people are going to see that it's not as scary as they think it is.
Now, during the course of the Open Cook, I mean, was there any event, even maybe leading up to the actual event itself, was there even an entertainment of thought that this team of PelletHeads.com would actually end up walking away with top 3 overall?
I think that our moderator, Bentley, and Kristen had some idea that they were good enough cooks to do that. But you when you're dealing with the American Royal and you're dealing with judges, it's difficult to tell where you'll end up. I've competed for many years and won my share of contests, and each time I shake my head and I go, what did I do different than the last one that made me better this time? This time we were lucky. Everything came together. The product was good that we turned in. We had nothing to be ashamed of, and the judges liked it. So we were successful.
Larry Hill, site administrator of PelletHeads.com, joining me here on the show. I was going to say, after the turn-ins were tasted, I mean, as a group, you have experience tasting what competition barbecue should taste like. Obviously, Bentley did too. But as a team, how did you feel about the chances after you had a chance to rate those turn-ins? And because of the size of the field, even though maybe you liked them, did you still kind of factor in that crapshoot because of the size?
Of course. I think you have to always do that. I thought the product that we turned in was respectable. I didn't feel that anything that we turned in wouldn't have been anything that I wouldn't have turned in on a contest. So I told all of the people on the site that we can't be ashamed of anything we turned in. We turned in good product. We turned in something that we could be proud of. And whether we're first or whether we're 500th, we did a good job.
So what were the cookers that you were actually using for the competition? You said Fast Eddy, and what were some of the other ones that you were able to get your hands on?
We cooked on the Fast Eddy, the Woodmaster, the Memphis. That was it. Those 3 cookers. Each one of them had their advantages. I cook on the FE 100s, so I know those the best. And we also had an FE 1000 there. The other members of the team have cooked on other cookers, and they kind of all came together and cooked on each one of them, and then at the end we sat down and tasted each one of them and selected the best product from each person that cooked.
So during the open portion of the competition, did you get a lot of foot traffic on the site to take a look at these cookers and see I believe you had like a big trailer there that had PelletHeads.com. Were people interested in learning more about what this was all about?
Yeah, unfortunately, we wanted to have actually a live feeding stream off it, but we had 2 things come up against us. Number one, the software that I received never did what I wanted to do. So we decided on Plan B, which was loading as we went. But unfortunately, my air card wouldn't work there, and the Wi-Fi there was not working as well.
Oh.
So this kind of made us not as open as we wanted to be with what we were doing. But I think we'll resolve that next year.
So as the awards are going on, I mean, how good are you guys feeling when you hear PelletHeads.com 3rd overall? What are the emotions that are kind of running through you guys?
Well, unfortunately, I had to leave to catch a plane before the awards, and I got a phone call from one of my friends that is from California here. When I landed in Dallas, I got the news, and I was pretty shocked. I was very happy for the team, and of course, you always wonder, well, what could I have done to just get that extra half a point that would have made you reserve? But that's the way it goes in competition barbecue. I'm elated for Bentley and Kristen, the head cooks. They did a phenomenal job. Their experience was invaluable in this, and I think the other members of the team that all contributed to this with the cookers and the time and the help, it just all came together.
Now, I was getting pumped pretty hard over the last day or two to get you on here and talk about this whole deal, which, of course, I was more than happy to do because you allow me to promote the show on your website. So now that you're on, you have full floor. Is there anybody that you want to mention specifically since you're on right now?
Well, I want to thank Bentley and Kristen for their hard work. Their expertise in guiding this team is what brought it together. There's every piece to every puzzle, but I think they did a great job. The idea is that pelletheads.com is a dynamic group. Next year we'll have cooks from wherever that we need to bring together. The Barbecue Brethren does the same thing. This next year we're going to probably try to have some more people that will come and compete as pelletheads.com so that we can have more and more people really see what competition barbecue is about. I'd love to have more backyard people come and help, and we're starting to see that. The site is gaining in popularity. We just about hit 500,000 hits last month. We had some record hits of 21,000 hits a day. So every day it's growing, and I'm hoping that the future, keeping it non-commercial, will bring all those people that don't want to be inundated with ads and spam coming back to the site.
Larry Hill, site administrator of pelletheads.com, is our guest. Larry, in your own opinion, what's the best pellet cooker on the market right now?
Oh, boy, that's hard to say. I have to say this because when people ask me that, I cook on a Fast Eddy because I believe the way I cook, it's the best cooker on the market. However, it's whatever cooker you get used to. It's like a race car or anything else. It's what you get used to driving, and you learn how to get all of the performance out of that machine that you can get. For me, once I started using the FEs, I knew that was the cooker for me. But I tell you, there's some well-built pits out there, cookers, Memphis, Woodmaster, Traeger, Mac. There's several out there, and I think this year we've seen an explosion of pellet cookers, and there's more in the wings that are coming out every single day. And I think this is going to really revolutionize the barbecue industry. And soon I think we'll see people like Kingsford that are starting to make pellets once they realize that the foundation for this industry has been set.
Now, aside from the visibility you might be looking to increase for pelletheads.com, is there anything to the website that you might be adding here over the next 6 months or a year that you want to let the membership know about?
Well, we're going to try to do more video streaming, I think, is one of the things that I'm really working on so that people can see hands-on stuff. We're continuing to do product testing. Bentley and Kristen, the moderators, we are continuing on a yearly basis to bring more of that in. We'll be doing some sauce testing in December. We'll start out with a general sauce, and we'll do 5 at a time. And then in the end, when we finish all the different sauces, we'll bring the winners of those or the best liked of those into a group, and then we'll pick the best overall sauce based on the group that's tasting it. Most of them are KCBS judges, so they're palated to do that. So I think that's one of the things we'll do. Of course, we'll also be checking, and as new pits come on the market, we'll be doing evaluations on them and taking pictures so that pellet heads can really realize what the industry is going to. I'm sure Cook Shack will have some more stuff on the horizon that will be helping. I think that new FE grill is going to really take off. It's a fantastic machine.
This is Larry Hill. He is the site administrator of pelletheads.com, which is the leading online resource for all things that have to do with pellet cookers. Larry, thanks for taking the time out tonight to do the show, and continued success with the website.
Thank you very much, and continued success with your radio broadcast. Anytime you need someone to come on with about pellets, I'm always available to you.
All right, Larry, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
There he is, Larry Hill. Pelletheads.com. Look, if you're looking to get into the pellet side of cooking, truth be told, 100% disclosure, I have been considering looking at pellet cookers. I never thought that, I never, of course, had any bias against them. Like, I wouldn't get one of those. But I think if I get a pellet cooker, then I've pretty much had at least one of everything in my mitts at one point or another, and I'm still, relatively young schmuck. So to have the experience of all of these under my belt and then be able to make a informed decision about which ones I like the best. And look, to me, it's always been about the more toys, the better. He or she with the most toys wins. So it's not like I would be looking to get rid of anything, but I certainly wouldn't mind adding a pellet grill to the whole scheme of the Rempe arsenal out back in the majestic estates that is the Barbecue Central Radio Network. So thanks again to Larry Hill, site administrator of pelletheads.com, if you're looking to get some information. And again, as he said, they have all the manufacturers listed there. There's a lot of reviews that have been done by the experts over there on that website. So there's a lot of great information leading up to your purchase decision if you're so inclined to lead that way. And here's a guy that's not looking to really cash in on the success of the website with some of the people that are servicing his particular portion of the industry either. It's certainly up to him to not do that. So I would say kudos to him for not, because I am a little bit more superficial than that, friends, and I think we all know that. I will take the money and run. I'll be out the door, boom, like a shot, like a cannon, baby. All right, that's going to do it. Huge show now wrapping up. All the way back in the first hour at 9:15, we had Mike Davis. He is the most recent winner of the American Royal Open this past weekend. Segment after that, around 9:35 p.m., we had Don Will from Smokers Wild winning the invitational portion of the American Royal this past weekend. Kicking off hour number 2 right around 10:05 tonight was Fast Eddy Maurin. PelletCooker.com is his website. Check that grill out, man. It's freaking sweet. And FEPs for your FECs. Don't forget about that. Eddie, if you take that tagline, buddy, we're going to be fist fighting, I guarantee it. And, of course, my most recent guest, Larry Hill, site administrator of PelletHeads.com, the leading online resource for all things that have to do with pellet cookers. Check that out if you want to do it. We're going to come back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with more great barbecue talk and whatnot, prize giveaways and the like. Don't forget to head over to porkbarrelbbq.com and make a donation to the Army base out there. And also your 10% discount at bbqhooks.com tonight. 10% off your order when you order the Easy Hooks. And the first 5 orders get free elk rub. Can't beat it with a stick. Can't whip it with a switch. Until next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.